Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hello friends, this is Santhanam from Officers IAS Academy, and in this video we will do the last part of solving the previous year's history prelims questions asked in UPSC civil service exams. So here we are going to discuss the questions which were asked in the 2019 prelims of UPSC civil service exams. So here we will look at the different modern Indian history questions asked. So in 2019 they had asked 7 questions in modern Indian history. In 2018 it was 13, so slightly higher. So year after year it keeps fluctuating, but around 10 one can assume as the average number of questions that you can expect from modern Indian history alone. So nevertheless, with that in mind, we will continue to solve these questions. Starting with the first question. Consider the following pairs: All India Untouchability League, All India Kisan Sabha, Self-Respect Movement. All are organizations or movements on one side, and then the leaders on the other side: Mahatma Gandhi, Sahajanand Saraswati and E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar. So let's try to understand whether these organizations or movements were started by these leaders only. We have to check whether it is correctly matched. All India Untouchability League, was it started by Mahatma Gandhi? Yes, it is correct. It was even given the title Harijan Sevak. So it was started it was actually by Mahatma Gandhi, who was the founder, who later renamed it with a different name, that is All India Untouchability League. So 1 is correct. 2, All India Kisan Sabha by Sahajanand Saraswati, that's also correct. Swami Sahajanand Saraswati, he was the one who was instrumental in starting the All India Kisan Sabha, and he was the one who also advocated the peasants to vote for Congress in the 1937 provincial elections. And later he was also the one who felt that the Congress has let them down once they came to power, and who advocated people to not accept Congress leadership, peasants not accept Congress leadership afterwards. So this is also correct. 3rd, Self-Respect Movement, E.V. Ramaswamy. Is that correct? That's also correct. Self-Respect Movement is a movement which was trying to uplift the position of low caste Tamils in the Tamilagam region, Madras Presidency, what is modern day Tamil Nadu. So here it was started by E.V. Ramaswamy, that's also correct. So all 3 statements are correct, all 3 pairs are correct. The answer is option D, 1, 2 and 3. Question number 2. With reference to British colonial rule in India, consider the following statements simply. 1. Mahatma Gandhi was instrumental in the abolition of the system of indentured labourers. The concept of indentured labourers, where labourers were taken from India to serve the British elsewhere in some other colony outside of India by signing some contract for so many number of years, that is indentured labourers in its gist. Mahatma Gandhi, it says, was instrumental in the abolition of the system. Is it correct? That is correct. He canvassed it again and again for a long period of time, and in the year 1917 it was finally abolished. Then statement number 2. In Lord Chelmsford's war conference, Mahatma Gandhi did not support the resolution on recruiting Indians for World War. That is actually World War I. So here it says that Mahatma Gandhi did not support the resolution for recruiting Indians for World War I. Is it correct? This statement is wrong. It is wrong because Mahatma Gandhi actually wanted people, Indians, to go and take part in the war, because he believed if Indians are trained by the British to take part in such wars, it's still going to instill a lot of skills and training for the Indians, which can be used in the future for satyagraha. Discipline can be used in the future for satyagraha. He has this belief, and therefore with this fascinating idea, he is asking Indians to go and enroll in the army. That's also true. So the statement is wrong. 3. Consequent upon the breaking of salt law by the Indian people, the INC was declared illegal by the colonial rulers. That is correct. This happened as a result of civil disobedience movement. So Civil disobedience movement was launched somewhere in the 1930s, early 1930s, and as it was launched in the 1930 actually, as it was launched, the British government wanted to suppress the Congress leaders, and therefore Congress leaders were arrested and Congress was declared as a banned outfit. So therefore third statement is correct. 1 and 3 are correct, 2 is wrong. The answer is option B, 1 and 3 only. Question number 3. With reference to Indian national movement, consider the following pairs. So once again they are going to give us some pairs and they will ask us whether it is correctly matched or not. Tej Bahadur Shapru, President of All India Liberal Federation. Yes, that's correct. Tej Bahadur Shapru was the President of All India Liberal Federation, and he was also the one who propounded this theory of All India Federation, where all the princely states and the British provinces can come together and form a federation of India. He made that proposal in the first roundtable conference that happened in 1930. That's Tej Bahadur Shapru, that's correct. K.C. Niyogi, a person from Bengal, was the member of the Constituent Assembly later. Is it correct? That is also correct. Then P.C. Joshi, General Secretary of Communist Party of India. Yes, it was instituted in 1935 and this is also correct. So all three statements are correct. The answer is option, all three pairs are correct. The answer is option D, 1, 2 and 3. Question number 4. With reference to Swadeshi movement, consider the following statements. It contributed to the revival of indigenous artisan crafts and industries. Is that statement correct with regards to Swadeshi movement? That statement is correct because Swadeshi movement by definition is about Swadeshi goods, use of Swadeshi goods, meaning use of Indian made goods. So Swadeshi movement certainly encouraged the purchase of Indian made goods, which contributed to the revival of indigenous artisan and crafts. That is correct. Statement number 2. The National Council of Education was established as a part of Swadeshi movement. Yes, that's also correct. Not just National Council of Education. Many national schools were established all over the country. Some universities were also established. Colleges were established as a result of Swadeshi movement. That's because many students, kids, would no longer want to go to a British school. They would rather go to a school that is created by Indians, Swadeshi schools, and therefore for those students they created many schools and colleges also. So both the statements are correct. The answer is option C, both 1 and 2. Question number 5. With reference to land reforms in independent India, which of the following statements is correct? Which one of the following statements is correct? So one of the statements are correct. We will try to understand what it is. The sealing laws were aimed at family holdings and not individual holdings. Okay, that's a vague statement and it is not even an important provision in the Land Sealings Act, which was the land reform that happened in India. The major aim of land reform was providing agricultural land to all the landless people. Was that the aim? Actually, that is the aim. The Land Sealings Act, it says that there is a ceiling limit for any person to hold land. One person cannot hold land indefinitely and without any limit. They say that one person will hold only so much amount of land. Different states in India, once they were created, they enacted the Land Sealings Act to ensure that people are not holding so much of land where there are so many people without any land. What is this Land Sealings Act all about? It is essentially about the abolition of Zamindari system, because when the Zamindari system was at its peak during independence, at the time of independence, 7% of Indians who constituted Zamindars, they held 70% of all of the land, agricultural land in India. Therefore, there is unequal distribution of resources among the people. To put this into conclusion, to end this, Land Sealings Act were created, and the major aim of this land reform was to, of course, promote to give agricultural land to all the landless laborers who lost their land because of the Zamindari system. So that's the ultimate aim here. Option C and D are not correct, obviously. it resulted in the cultivation of cash crops as a predominant form of cultivation? No. In fact, cash crops were cultivated when the system, the age-old system was in existence. So at that point in time, cash crops were cultivated. So which changed the agricultural cropping pattern. The land reforms permitted no exemptions to the ceiling limits. No, that's also a vague, unwanted statement. The answer is very clear, it is option B, that is the answer. Question number 6. Consider the following statements about the Chart Act of 1813. It ended the trade monopoly of East India Company in India except for trade in tea and trade with China. Is that statement correct? That is correct, absolutely correct. The trade monopoly of East India Company was holding back the British from other British traders to do trade with India. So finally, East India Company, one of the British trading company, was reduced to just one other British company, so that their monopoly is abolished and many more British entities started to do trade with India along with East India Company. So that statement is correct. Even though monopoly was abolished, they did retain monopoly for trade in tea and also trade with China. Only East India Company will do trade with China, they were told. The first statement is correct. It asserted the sovereignty of the British Crown over the Indian territories held by the company. Is that correct? That statement is also correct. That statement is correct because in this particular Chart Act, they told that the Indian sovereignty, the Indian provinces held by the British, they are all actually held by the East India Company for the in the trust of the British Crown. Meaning, even though the private company called as East India Company is holding this land, this territory in India, it is actually held by the company in the trust of the British Crown, meaning the British Crown is the owner of the land. So that's also correct. The revenue of India were now controlled by the British Parliament. Is that statement correct? That statement is wrong, because the revenue of India was never formally controlled by the British Parliament until 1858, after the revolt. Because only after the revolt, the British actually formally announced that India is now a colony of Britain, and therefore only then the British government directly was present in India doing the administration, and all the revenues of India were controlled by the British Parliament. But before that, it was the East India Company which was controlling the revenue, and the British government was only sitting on top of the East India Company. There was no direct correlation between the government and India. There were only indirect association with India. So the third statement is wrong. 1 and 2 are correct. The answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. Question number 7. Which of the following groups of plants was domesticated in the New World and introduced into the Old World? They are asking this question. When I say New World, what is New World? It means North America and South America. These two are the New World because newly discovered worlds, Americas in general. And also Old World, what does it mean? That is Asia and Africa. That's the Old World. So they are saying a group of plants domesticated in the New World, meaning in America, introduced into the Old World, meaning Asia and Africa. So which plant was domesticated first in America and then shifted to Asia and Africa? They are asking. Tobacco, cocoa and rubber. Tobacco, cotton and rubber. Cotton, coffee and sugarcane. Rubber, coffee and wheat. So of course they have given a list of plants, and let's try to understand what it is. Rubber, coffee and wheat. That's wrong because wheat has been cultivated in the Indian subcontinent itself for the past 6,000 years. So therefore that is not correct. Cotton, coffee and sugarcane. Well, sugarcane was also cultivated in India for the past several thousand years. So that's for the past several centuries. So that was not new. That didn't come from America to the Asia to India. That is also not correct. tobacco, cotton and rubber. No, cotton has been cultivated since ancient times, since Indus Valley times actually, even before Indus Valley times, even during Neolithic times. So therefore, that's also not the answer. So C, B and D are not the answer. A is the answer. Tobacco, cocoa and rubber. All three items were brought into India from outside of India, brought into Africa and Asia from outside of Africa and Asia, from Americas essentially. So the answer to this question is option A. So with this, we complete the discussion of the modern Indian history questions asked in the year 2019 in UPSC Prelims Civil Service exams. So with this, we complete the discussion of history questions and look at the description for detailed answer key for all these questions that we have discussed. And apart from that, for more such videos where you will be listening to the discussions of questions from other subjects also, from other subjects like economy, polity and others, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you.